Hello, hello. Welcome to the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. How are you? I'm pretty excited. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited. Um, this week it is a week of enormous energy, and things are really starting to shift. The British government is falling apart. Hurrah! And I can't even tell you the kind of people that I'm speaking to at the moment. It's such a privilege to do this show, and such a privilege to have you guys as my subscribers. Please like, comment, share this video. This video is very exciting. Some of you, most of you, will have heard of the arcs. I think is coming into the consciousness of most people at the moment. And I had an arc pilot on with David Mahoney and Lucy Davis the other week called Katie Rain, who I'm meeting this weekend at an event on. If you go to hoh.earth/burning mask, you'll see the event that I'm doing in Ireland with the House of Huna and Katie Rain. But today we have a captain, a co-pilot, and a spiritual healer from one of the arcs. Hello, Peter Earthbound. Hello, Kanika. Hello, Angie.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Hello.
It's just amazing to be able to do an introduction like that.
It's an unusual one, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back to a year and tell me I'd be saying that sentence, I'd probably laugh at you.
If you ask me, I would be saying the same. We're uncharted waters here.
We are. Yeah, it's great though, isn't it? It's exciting.
Even a few months ago, I don't think we could have imagined
even last week. Yeah, but it's all going really quickly, and so many exciting things going on. Peter, you're the captain. Tell me, you want to do a clearing before we start talking, don't you? So
yeah, if we can, it's something we like to do because we're actually working with the divine, and so Kanika is our healer on the ship. So it'd be really good if she could lead on that.
Yeah, so just don't bring your rational mind with it and go with the flow. It's going to be quick. So everybody close your eyes. Just tune into yourself, being aware of your breath, of your body, of your thoughts, tuning more and more inwards. As you now get fully aware of your breath and the sensations that are going through your body and this energetic space around you, go ahead, grounding yourself in whichever manner you would like to, or just go ahead and shoot a red laser beam from the base of your spine all the way down, connecting you to Pachamama, to Mama Gaia, to Mother Earth. Grounding you, connecting you, solidifying you, and anchoring you right now. Connecting you to the divine energy as you bring it back, visualizing it coming all the way up into your heart space. And at the same time, go ahead and shoot a golden light from the top of your head all the way up, connecting you to your unique soul star. You may see these chords, you may not. Either way, just by intention, go ahead and do as you must. Connecting to your soul star, to the divine masculine, and bringing the same cosmic energy right back into your heart space. With these two divine energies connecting into your heart space, opening you up with so much love and gratitude. I declare and decree any lower light frequencies, densities, distortion to shift, clear, dissolve, sending all of it back to source via the sender, melting all karmic bonds and humbly requesting the universal harmonic law of divine love and one true divine light to come and fill us up with so much love and light. I request all your 12D shields to be activated right now with an absolute humble open heart with an intention to just serve divine and hone your intuitive abilities and your natural gifts to whoever is watching this or whoever watches the replay of this beautiful show. I ask for divine guidance to come forward in whichever form they would like to, right from galactic beings to archangels and angels to even dragons or fairies if you believe in so. With God and universe as a witness, as we now officially open the sacred container and witness magic. Taking a nice deep breath in, respecting your rhythm, you may slowly, gently open your eyes with a beautiful, bright smile.
Very good. Thank you, Kanika.
Gets you every time.
Oh, well, yes, I can feel it. I'm sweating. All right.
Thank you, Kanika.
My pleasure.
So, Mark, do you want me to sort of start off with a little bit of what a crew of, crew of 6 that we know of do? What we've been doing?
Well, you are the crew of an Ark ship.
Well, technically, we're a crew of a ship from within the Ark. So
Okay.
our ship actually fits through into the Ark. So it's not actually the Ark ship, but it's from within the Ark. So there's smaller crews that go out on these ships.
So, did you apply for this job?
I think I must have, yeah, in a previous life. We all did.
Did you send your CV in, or how's it work?
Well, I don't know. We came into this world all with talents, obviously. And so my background was Air Force. So that was a start. 10 years of it.
You, me both.
Yeah, as I know. Yeah. So, and so basically, yeah, we've all been in the past, been to the future, and we've come back. And that's what we have to understand, that it's not all happened from the future. We've actually experienced the problems prior. We've gone through and gone into the future component and come back. So yeah, it's quite an interesting path we've led, and essentially we've been able to link up, and fairly early, which is good. We've been together working on this really since February, and March is when we really set up a small group of the crew to really explore what we needed to do within the ship, but also our personal growth. So that's been very important. That's the most important part of being a part of the crew, is your personal growth, because we all come from a point of not knowing anything. So yeah, it's been a long pathway, but my background is 10 years in the Air Force. When I was younger and about 7 years old, I had open heart surgery, and I came out of that, and the surgeon said to my mother at the time, there's one thing that Peter will never be able to do, and that is join the Defence Force. Of course, that was like a red rag to a bull. And so when I got older, it actually came to fruition that, no, I couldn't be a pilot, but I could be something else within the Air Force that gave me the opportunity to fly in the aircraft. And so I did a lot of non-standard modification, experimentation, and worked in with the intelligence part of the Defence Force. So it was a lot of time in the cockpit, which was great. But then during that time, once I finally got in the cockpit, I didn't feel all that comfortable getting thrown around doing high Gs for periods of time. So I spent all that time getting there, but then I felt uncomfortable in there. And it's interesting, I heard Katie talking the other day, she felt uncomfortable in that sort of environment as well, because it is the smell of the the aviation fuel and all those sorts of things, the G suits, they just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So I sort of had that same sort of inkling, and that sort of caught home with me when she said that. I was like, well, that's exactly how I felt as well. But yeah, moving on from that, I got out of the Air Force and been pursuing other business, and marketing is a big part of what I've been doing previous to the year as well. And now I'm farming, so I'm going all the way through a different path again, and I'm connecting with nature tremendously. And in the last 4 years, I've really changed the way I've done things. I think, like a lot of people in this world, 2018 was a year of just everything just was torn away from us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think most of the crew have felt the same. And so from then it was a rebuild and understanding that personal development. And then sort of 2 years ago is when I started that ascension process. And then in the last 12 months, it's been full on. And it's been a great ride, really. It's been enormously stressful at times. But, March was really hard for us as a group, and we got through it because March, as we all know, all the energies were flooding through March and April, just getting bombarded. But together, we work together, and we come up with some amazing outcomes. So, yeah, our modalities, like Kanika's modality, grew dramatically over that period. And we were able to help her through that. Angie as well. She went through some horrific times leading up to that point, and together we got through. And then we started working on really important things for the ship, and that is like the telepathic powers. So now we're all can telepathically connect. We have tones that connect in specifically for different people. Angie and myself specifically do a lot of remote viewing. So there's all these other things. And then we had a guide came in and helped us from an ET guide that's been specifically came in to help all of the crew. And he's helped us dramatically. And I think the other two can attest to that. And so that's been a wonderful growth for the crew. And we've just felt really enlightened by what our ET guides have been able to give us. And now we've got two more guides, ship guides. So one's an air travel guide and one's a crew guide to show us more things on the ship. So that's happening this month. And the air travel guide is more around the outside of how the navigational components are. We've discovered a couple of outer crew now. So we've actually located our electrical engineer, and we've also located our space aircraft engineer. So they're coming on board, and they're outer crew. And my wife has even been brought into as being the teleport manager. So, but she will go off ship. So, which was a surprise because we thought she wasn't involved at all. So that's just come in the last little bit.
Don't tell me our nickname's Scotty.
Well, it is now.
I've always wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, I can't resist interrupting with gags. It's just the way I'm made.
No, that's good. That's good.
Beam me up, Scotty.
So yeah, essentially, we're a crew of 6 at the moment. We're trying to find an extra 2. The aircraft can take, or the spacecraft can take between 8 and 10. So whether we need to find all those or not, we haven't been told. But we've all been downloaded. We've been Angie and myself specifically have been given a lot of downloads. Kanika's been saved from a lot of that, thankfully, because it's not much fun getting them sometimes. It really isn't, because you're just getting bombarded. So yeah,
It comes when least expected. Like sometimes I just think, quick meditation, something, and then all of this stuff starts coming through, and I'm like, oh, okay, what do I do now?
Well, that was going to be my question. So Peter, just start with meditation, and then you just got this information, and you're the captain of this ship. How does that? Can you describe that when you first got that, and then how did you find the other guys?
Yeah. So essentially, right back to the start, I had this connection with probably more with Kanika at the time through a Telegram group, and so it's funny. All of the crew pretty much. Well, the main four of the crew anyway, connected through a Telegram group. Now, the Telegram group was on about Ascension. It was just a link from within another group to go to another group. And then we sort of got into that group and we started discussing. Now, the person who was running that group at the time was doing some remote viewing and was doing a remote viewing with Kanika. And also with myself, and did some past regression as well, and then connected Kanika and I in that process, and back into the we actually go right back to the Egyptian period, but we had a past life where I was an astronomer and she was a scribe, so, and that was connected, and so we then did a further remote view with Kanika when she was in Bahrain there. And post that, there was a period of time that we had all these images that, because I do a lot of dowsing, I douse huge, and also had a telepathic connection as well. I can do that a lot, and so I was practicing my craft too, and so I then worked with Kanika, and we started to get this connection, and I was actually doing a lot for her, and then it just came through one day when I was doing it that there was some ship involved, and it was all this started to connect, and I was a bit confused. But then Kanika and I looked at it further, and anyway, the group that we're in sort of dissolved more, and then Kanika and I jumped in and created another group to keep the people going who was in it, and that's when Angie came in. And then it just came down as a download. You need to keep Angie and another woman as well, and Kanika in this group and create it, because that's your crew. And I didn't know what it was all about, but this is back in early March. And we started doing that. We got pulled together, and I just got these downloads, and I felt like a crazy idiot. I just said, well, girls, this is what it is. This is what I see. And they said, oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we can be a crew. And I don't know whether they really knew what it meant, but they said, yeah, we're a crew. And we just started practicing our telepathic component, and, remote viewing, and it was just amazing how we just started doing it. And we sort of thought, yeah, there might be something with this crew thing. And then it just started to happen more and more downloads and more downloads. And then I went into a point that I was just sort of I felt I was going crazy, and I just couldn't handle it much anymore. And so I basically handed the reins to Angie, and I said, look, my vibration is just screwed at the moment. Can you just hang on to this? And she just started getting it, because they knew I had to have a break. And then we just started to cross over, and everything just melded together. And Kanika's in the middle holding it all together. And with it, she's sort of saying, do this, do that. And then all of a sudden it came to a point that I said, Rodeo, I don't know what's happening. And I just did the dowsing, and I said, what's happening? And then Tronson came through. So Tronson's our guide. And so Tronson came through and said, it's all right. This is what you have to do. And he gave us all jobs. So, he said, Kanika, you stand in your truth. Angie, you have to stand in your power. Peter, you have to stand in your strength. And the other woman, you have to stand in your conviction. And so we just worked on that. And that was what we had to do the whole time. We had to just work on that. And we did that. And we're still doing that. And we just keep pulling each other up. And that keeps our vibrations up. And when we keep our vibration up, then we start connecting again. And so we'll be, the other woman's in Canada. And so when, she'll be at work or something, and the next thing it'll be something come through and think, oh, it's that tone. and all of a sudden we're just connecting, bang, bang, bang. What's happening? And same with Angie and myself. Because our DNA is connected with the ship. Either of us can fly it. So we're totally connected in that regard for whatever we do. So yeah, very strong. And Kanika is, she's our Tinkerbell. She just sort of flies around between us all. So yeah, it's wonderful because she's, if you go onto the ship, she's like a golden orb that's around us all the time. But I can show you some images of what we're doing later on.
Wow, I don't remember any of this in my flight training.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a bit better than the Royal Australian Air Force, personally.
Oh, amazing. Kanika.
Yeah.
Let's get a bit of input from you before we move on to, and then Angie before we move on to Peter's images, because what's your version of events?
So this is going to resonate with a lot of people who think they're crazy.
Because that's my audience and me.
That's it. So guys, first and foremost, what's coming through me is intuition. Intuition is so important, and it's that download in your head, at the back of your head, which says, oh, do this, turn right, or pick up the phone and call this person, or check this email. Listen to it, because they're guiding you at every single time. And no, you're not crazy. Even if you think you're crazy, just do it. And you'll not have any regrets, I promise you. So I am a finance manager that pivoted towards, she actually took 2018, like how Peter said. Everything went haywire for me. I got out of a toxic relationship, and I was at my worst, mentally, physically, spiritually, everything. And that's when I took, of course, we're at a good spot. So I hate the medical community at the moment, and did at that time 3 years back. So I took the reins in my hand and started becoming a health researcher, and started ditching the 10 pills a day that I was having, and experimenting on myself. And bam, in 2021, I got certified as a holistic health coach. But somewhere down the line, I kept on honing my intuitive abilities. I kept on rewiring my head. Yeah, because we've been so programmed all our lives that, we forget who we are. So that's what I did. I worked on very, and I think they just like followed me through. Like I worked on a lot of mind, body healing, etc., etc. And that's when things shifted for me, because my intuitive abilities kept on honing. I started meditating. So when you meditate, you get into that zone where your powers come back, because you're peeling off layers bit by bit by bit. So guys, whoever's listening, whoever needs to listen to this, meditate in your own manner. What's great, because that's how you are, like tapping into your abilities, tapping into your core. So from there, I finished the holistic health coach, and I'm like, now what do I do? And bam, the universe presents me as quantum healing. And I'm like, quantum healing? Okay, let's do it. And Mark, I cannot stress this enough, how this changed the entire trajectory. I don't know arcs. I don't know spaceships. I'm not a research geek like Peter and Angie over here. But all I know is that I get downloads and intuitive insights that just need to be out. And that's when people need to listen. And I work with the frequency of love. I like Peter said, like over these months, I've really, and they've helped me, because whenever you do something crazy, like, oh, I looked at Mark, and now I'm just like sending out some frequencies and he feels great, and I'm like, am I actually doing that? Like, how did I do that? Because you're so, this mental chatter never ends, right? So I became a quantum healer, got certified like a couple of months ago, and May was intense in terms of the energies hitting, your mess coming out. You're like, oh my God, my relationship is so screwed up. Why am I in this job? Why am I doing this, that? But it's all a reflection for you to change. So transformation is key, and you've got to embrace the unknown. It's so important. You're not crazy. Things are happening for you, through you, and people need to listen to this. I don't know why this is coming through, but I just need to share it. It's not so much of my journey with these guys, because Angie and Peter are doing a great job, like connecting everything. But Guys, like, listen to it, because things are shifting. Tomorrow is 7/7. It's a huge portal again. Intention setting is so important, because that's where you stand. That's where you're broadcasting yourself. That is your aura per se, and your body. So please set intentions, and set beautiful, crazy intentions. Not like I need a Lamborghini, or, I need my Fendi and Gucci. No. What do you want from your heart? I want to serve the greatest good. That was my intention. And everything came in alignment. So that's when I met all of them. And, all of us intuitively did a lot of things. Peter and I created that group. Angie, there was another female, and then Xenia came in, and then some other female went out, etc., etc. Things happened. But it was all because we trusted that inner guidance. So people listen to it, and really, you're not crazy. I mean, this is coming from a person who did not know even Earth was Terra. She learned it 2 months back. Okay. I'm a person who did not know anything, and I have no qualms in saying this. I didn't know it was Terra. We had Andromedans as galactics, etc., etc. Nothing. And from there, I've come to a space where I embrace every aspect of it, even arcs, and the earth being flat, etc., etc., because I was open to it. You just have to be open to ideas, and whatever resonates with you, go for it, but just believe in it.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. And what's your you've got a healing role on this ship,
Yes,
right?
I've got a healing role on ship, and I'm pretty much doing a good job. I don't remember, Mark. Honestly, I tried to, but I think somehow either they removed the memory from me, because I remember stuff which is very like 3D like, oh, okay, integrating what happened during the day. But anything in my deep sleep, I do not remember anything. And I track my body vitals, right? I know that at a certain point, I go into such a state where, if you actually scientifically measure it, it's like dead, that altered state, like literally. So I know I'm there. And whatever Peter and Angie tell me, it resonates with me, because I'm more of a feeler. I feel things, and like any healer, most of the healers. But I don't remember things, which is fine, because it just feels right for me, and that's how I work. And as long as I'm doing a good job, and I constantly evolve myself, I keep on learning stuff, so as long as I'm doing that, I'm good to go. It just feels right.
Fantastic. And have you seen the ship in any form at all?
I think I shared this with Peter once. I saw a form, but not exact. So, like he says, he sees me as an orb. So I saw a form, but what's my role really? I mean, I know I'm gonna heal, but how do I move and maneuver? I don't know that yet. And Peter's shown me like my own avatar on the ship, and I'm like, that's interesting. That would be good. But I take everything with a chuckle, purely because it's that inner child in me that just gets exuberated, and like, so excited that, oh my god, this is happening. It's like an inner knowing that, yeah, this was coming through. So that's why I've not seen the ship. Like, Angie and Peter have seen me on the ship, but I see them as colors. I see Angie and Peter as colors for me when I get into deep meditation. That is.
Wow. Okay, thank you, Kanika. Angie, are you still there?
Yes. Well, my story is kind of a blend of Peter's and Kanika's and my own as well, of course. Like Kanika, I'm also in finance. I do work in global infrastructure finance. So I've never piloted a ship, but I've flown a lot. Before the pandemic, I think I would say 10 years before that time, I was on a flight from 4 to 10 flights a month, pretty much spending half my time overseas, Europe, Middle East, kind of all over the place. And I loved flying. Like, being on the plane was like my own time. Like, I felt free. It was just like one of my favorite times of spending and hanging out, and I would also go into myself. So in terms of 3D level meditations and understanding the different dimensions, I actually started at a very early young age. In the 90s, I did a school science project on dream interpretations, and I really got into the Edgar Cayce analysis of dreams, and that really fascinated me. At the same time, I was starting martial arts training, so I'm a master in martial arts now, but back then it was kind of a fun after-school activity. And so I kind of integrated those two things, and I learned about the chakras, the energy flow, meridians. Later on, learned a little bit about, I have a relative that does Chinese medicine, so I learned about Qi and Qigong. So like those kinds of things have been second nature to me most of my life, but that's as far as it got. I never, like, I was a Star Trek fan, and I watched those sci-fi movies, but I was never really kind of open to galactic beings and ETs, but I didn't really know anything about them. I figured, yeah, they might exist, but that's as far as my knowledge went. And the other aspect related to piloting a ship, which I also resonated very much with Katie's story, was swimming. So I grew up, my family lived in Eastern Europe, but we moved to the US when I was young. So right around this time that I started really opening up. And we lived right on the Atlantic Ocean. So I never learned how to surf, but I absolutely loved being in the water, and I got pretty good at body surfing. So I always felt the urge of doing stand up, but I just being on the board and catching the waves was like my favorite summer activity. So when Katie was describing that, I was like, yes, now it makes sense. So that's a little background for me. And ironically, around 2012, now that things are coming together and starting to make a lot of sense, when time shifted a little bit, my family went through something very horrific. Like things just started to go really wrong, and everything we had built over 20 years completely came crashing down, and we lost pretty much everything that we've ever worked on, done, and we didn't really know why or understand it, because we always tried to do everything with a good heart, with love, with positive kind of energy. So by like 5 years ago, things just kept getting worse. Like every time they would start getting better, they would just come crashing down again. So 5 years ago, I kind of thought to myself, I really have to do some more inner work, because I was doing the meditation and the training, but I really I stopped myself from going higher, because I was aware of negative energies that you could also meet in this astral plane. And that kind of made me nervous. And like, I don't know anything about it. I don't know how to deal with it. So I'm just not going to go any further. And 5 years ago, I just had this push that, okay, I really need to work on myself. And it's the only way that I'm really able to deal with everything that's happening in 3D. And what I realized was all that experience completely wiped out my sense of fear. And that's something that I grew up with, kind of always knowing, like my father would always say, if you fear something, you have to go through it. You have to force yourself to go through it, then you'll realize it's not that bad. And that's kind of what my life has been like. Everything that I always feared, that it has happened on some level. And I just realized one day, as bad as I thought things would be, and they got, I was all right. I'm still breathing. I'm still smiling. I'm still, doing everything that I possibly can in my power. So I think that was the first step, was really to get out of that. And then I started to really get more deeper, because of course my fear of dealing with dark energies up there, I've dealt with some pretty dark energies here on this earth without even realizing it until just the past year that's what it was. But when I started looking back, I'm like, I went through all of that. I experienced all of that. So now I'm like, even that I'm, with Anika's help and protection and learning how to heal and kind of not absorb it, like work with it, but not absorb it. So that's kind of what I'm exploring more. So yeah, similarly to how Peter explained, I got into this group intuitively, just found a link. connected first with our other inner crew member because where she was, I was joining it to learn more about the galactic history, the ETs, all of the stuff that I was very limited on. But I also realized there were a few people that were joining there that were just starting out from zero, from like they didn't know anything. And I was able to share some of my knowledge from at least, on self-healing, on meditation, on energy flow. Those are the kind of things that I'm familiar with. So I connected with our other crew member, and then eventually with Peter and Kanika. So when our mission began, it was kind of second nature. Like when we were all put together, we were already friends. So we were like, all right, yeah, let's do this and see what happens. And the biggest, I think, break for me was in terms of getting downloads. And I get this question a lot, is when, how do you know you're getting downloads and how do you connect to your spiritual self? So all of a sudden I had friends from all over the world, just really random friends. Some of them are very much asleep and living in the very 3D matrix, but reach out to me and saying, hey, so I like you're doing all of this work. Like, how do you connect to your higher self? How do you, trust yourself? And that's really the kind of opening that's happened to me in the last couple of years, where I thought, okay, really, the answers are all within me. Like I always, in relationships in my past, I've always relied on the other person to help me, to heal me, to be there for me. And what really the last few years taught me is really I have to depend on myself. And I can only heal myself. I can only really, there's support, of course, and there's, beautiful love that surrounds me that helps me through that process, but only I can do it myself. So what I realized was when you're thinking, because I've always had this little voice in my head, and most prominently, I've been in certain unknown or emergency or surprise situations where normally I would absolutely have no idea what to do. And somehow I would just, in that instant, something would come through to me and I would know exactly what to do. And then looking back, I'm like, how the heck did that come to me? Like, how did I know to do this or to say this? And so just recently, when we all got together, I realized that's what a download is. It's not when you're coming up with a thought or crafting it in your mind. It's when you're doing something and then all of a sudden something pops in your head. And like I said, like she's told to call somebody, or she's told to do something, or to send a message. So I just realized that's my guide talking to me. That's my higher self talking to me. And I need to start paying attention and listening to that. And as soon as I realized that, the downloads just came pouring in. And when Peter said, I need to step back and take a break, I thought, okay, well, I understand how to get downloads. Let's see what happens. And yeah, it just started coming in, and I would start writing like essays and pages of information that was coming through. And I had absolutely no idea where it was coming from, but yeah, that's where we are. And just like I said, it's being open to it, really just not limiting yourself in your beliefs, and just understand that there is a wider universe out there, and being open to things that you didn't think were possible before.
Amazing. I wrote this down while you were talking. This period since 2018, I would call it the death of codependency and the birth of collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
That was my biggest
Absolutely.
lesson. Codependency was. I was very codependent. Very.
Quite.
Yeah.
And I'm driving people mad now talking about codependency, boundaries, all these things. They're the big things for me in the last couple of years, especially. So it's a wonderful story of how everything you're saying resonates with me, because I've been doing this. My higher self's been talking to me for ages, and I never even realized it. And then, and it's a wonderful thing when you realize what it actually is, isn't it?
It is. It
Yes.
is.
And then it does accelerate. It does accelerate, and then you find yourself coming out with stuff. And you're like, where'd that come from? When I started this channel, I was like, what am I going to talk about? It's like I've done about 500 hours of talking.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah.
And the other thing is by dowsing too, is we're able to confirm a lot. That's been the real extra thing we've had to be able to confirm.
Are you talking
Pendulum dowsing
kind of thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using that, but also I just learned how to do it with the rods.
Yes, I do that as well.
I've gotten really into that lately as well. Yeah, I always like to put it down. Yeah, learning the power of it now is incredible.
And you can do it with your own body.
You can, absolutely.
It's amazing.
A lot of people do it in the supermarket when they want to work out which is the best capsicum, the red one or the green one.
Well, if it's in the supermarket, neither.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
So I'm always thinking about what the viewers are going to be wanting to know. And I think the first question I want to ask you guys is, what are these ships? What are they for? Why are they here? And what's going to happen with them?
Yeah, well, it's a question we had too. What, why, and how, and when. But yeah, essentially, the reason that we're being told, and our mission is really to start a disclosure. Is actually to start something there, because we're actually all raising up into, whether you call it a fourth dimension, fifth dimension, or whatever dimension, we're going into a different timeline essentially from where we're at. So we're raising our vibration, and then when we get to that point, we actually need to be resonating with what is actually happening out there now with our ships. I know you're seeing ships. I'm seeing ships. We're seeing them all through the sky. I see mine in the morning because we're upside down here in Australia, but we're seeing them in the morning here or in the evening somewhere else. So they're happening all over the world. And so we can't deny that it's happening. So we know that they're there. Now, the other side of things is what are they? Well, and why are they exposing, or why are they putting us in the hands of us? Essentially, we have the DNA of many different species. Okay, so, and I think most of your viewers would understand that.
22
or 24. Yeah, it's sort of this variance thoughts, and so I'm primarily Andromedan Arcturian. So other members of the team of crew will be a little bit different, and they'll have their own beliefs and thoughts on that. So we've been put in here by a higher group, essentially, and so our job is to really allow people to facilitate. So we're actually a facilitation. So with the ships, we'll be actually facilitating with smaller communities and groups, so that there's not this scare campaign. So as people get their higher vibration, they're going to be able to see these ships. They're not going to be, it's not going to be like, here's an arc that arrives in the sky and all of a sudden everyone's going to get scared. You're only going to see it there if the vibration is coming up, but you want to know what it's about, and you need to be able to have some sort of connection with it. So our government organisations around the world, humanity organisations around the world, everyone like that needs to be connecting in. Now, those that are getting this and all the other things, they will be also need some help. So there is medical teams on the arcs. So there's another person within the crew that is also a healer, but also 34 years as a nurse. And she is involved in that component of it. And she has seen her role on the ship. But what we're going to be in a smaller ship rather than the bigger arcs, because these actually go within the arc. And I've doused there's 110 of those that are around this Earth that are actually going to be waking up. Okay, so we're not just the only crew around. There's a lot. We're probably more advanced than some.
So the arcs, what's their job?
The arcs are basically a mothership. Okay, yeah. So that's where everyone will end up going to. That's where the hub is. But you're not going to drag it. It's a bit like you wouldn't, if you go fishing, you have and you go big angling fishing, you'd have a mothership, and then you have a little ship to go out and find the marlin or whatever it is, and do the fishing. 4 or 5 out in the boat, or 6 or 7. Depending.
You're the dinghy on the back of the yacht.
Yeah. And so you come back to the yacht. That's where you sit back, have a few drinks, and enjoy. or come back and clean the fish and eat it or whatever it is. So essentially the same sort of thing is what we're doing here is actually you'll have a smaller ship. Now, even within these ships, there's actually a smaller ship again, which is just a 2 packs or 2-person ship. So essentially that then can fly out. Now,
that's the kind of ship I like to fly.
Yeah. So the closest connection to that would be like a dragonfly ship from say that movie June. All right, so something similar to that. So that would be going out on a reconnaissance, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. And so the ships that we are flying around 100 to 150 feet. So that's where they are at, and they're a plasma-based ship. So that's essentially all they are. Well, so all they are. In the center, they also have a stasis chamber system. So essentially, that's where the avatars can be. Now, you're only going to be utilizing them when in the flying environment, and then outside or back to the ark, then you don't necessarily need that. And there's other avatars or suits. So a 3D scenario like ourselves in this meat suit, that would actually be able to have a suit, and I've got images of that suit as well. So there's all these things I've drawn as I've been getting these downloads over the last few months. And so I'm not a great drawer by any chance, I'm not an artist. My wife is, but I'm not much of an artist. But this is just what I've created from my downloads. Yeah.
Time to show the dog the rabbit then.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know they use the share?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Where are the ships taking us?
Where?
Whoever. This is an open question to while Peter's. Where the ships are here to pick us up and take us somewhere.
Where we need to be.
Well, really? I mean, Mark, this is a question that I also had. I'm like, where are they taking us? But then something within me is just like, where you need to be, where exactly. You've had these synchronicities where you're just like meeting the right person. Everything's just happening as if, we were stuck for so long, and now you're just like, oh yeah, I meet Peter, I meet Angie, I'm meeting Mark Attwood. I mean, like, what would be like, what's happening now?
Well, I was told that we're going from Universe 369 to Universe 370, and there's going to be an interim Earth on the way there because not everybody give people time to acclimatize to the frequency shifts. And the ships are the things that's the rescue mission.
Wow.
That's what I was told. I mean, I'm taking in a lot of information. Anybody watching this, just do a truth vibration on it. If it vibrates at the right frequency, then
yeah, I'm always open to the different versions because I think that the truth is somewhere in between. So it's not like black and white, or like one theory is right and one theory is wrong. I think it's a blend, and it's a little bit of everything. So that resonates with me in that. I don't think it'll be like a new Earth will be like a whole different planet, but I think it'll be this Earth in a different form, in a different dimension, in a different frequency.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, one of my consistent messages or thoughts is that we're all getting slightly different information for a purpose. Some people are online saying different things and disagreeing with people, but I think it's all part of the bigger plan that it comes through that way.
They're coming through all right there, Mark?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. So, yeah, basically, I'll just go back on it. I lose you when I go off, so just bear with me. That's all. So you can see that one all right?
Yep.
So that's Kanika's side view. So you'll notice that the ear is quite elongated. So I saw this back about 5 days ago, this particular one. And this one here is the front view. So Kanika actually wears a pendant in the center, and she has a Pacific clasp on her ear too that I'll show later on. Angie.
That's your cover. That's your cover blown, Angie. You thought keeping the camera off would be enough, and then Peter just put up a drawing of you. If anyone's seen this woman,
like I said, I'm not much of an artist.
Well, see, Peter and I agree on so many things. Like a lot of times we're just on the same frequency. But yeah, when Peter said, "Oh, sorry about the drawings, I'm not great of an artist," I'm like, finally, we disagree on something because I think that these are great.
Yeah, they are.
And then that's myself. I don't know why I've got bones out of my head, but for whatever reason.
Because you're a bonehead.
Yeah, well, that's it. I was waiting for it. So this is just what comes through. Now, this is one of the stasis chambers. So I actually think this is actually on the arc because it's too big for, there's too many on there to be showing. So basically this whole ring comes down over the top. And so then this is where you walk up and walk down little steps. There is all the windows to the outer part of the spaceship. And that's just a curved glass pane in front. That's what I can remember from that. So this is done a couple of months ago, actually. So this one is a suit, an all silver skin tight suit that I saw. And so I'm thinking this is worn in specific situations, and this was on the arc. This is the shell type earring that Kanika wears. There's actually a service ship vehicle that was running around the main. It's that big. It has its own service vehicle, and then there's a ship form of it that actually can like transform, and that's the windows how they were. And then there's this glass dome that's about 12 foot thick that runs over the top within the arc itself. And then, yeah, just to go on a little bit.
12 foot thick.
Yeah.
How big is this arc?
This arc would have to be, 50, 60 mile. Yeah. Huge.
50 miles long.
Wide, yeah. Huge.
Wow.
It's huge. Then this is ley line that believe is running through where this particular our ship is. So I've been studying where I think it is.
So it's already here on Earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've heard that, and I've heard that they're underwater and they're underground.
That's correct. Yeah. But they'll be on a ley line. So our one connects in with Uluru. We'll be running in connection with that. And that just shows some of the quartz on that ley line. So there's a huge amount of quartz on that one.
Quartz coming up a lot at the moment.
Yeah. And this was shot on 14th of May, looking back towards Antarctica. And so that's an interesting shot that I felt that was connected. And then my wife and I obviously do a lot of cloud ship photography as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them.
Yeah.
We've had overcast skies here for over a week. It's not seen a tiny bit of blue sky. Yeah,
right. Yeah, no, we're getting a little bit of blue sky today, but that's about it. And then on the 20th of April, I had what I felt was an implant, and then so I just monitored that on the 26th of. That's what it was doing, and that was today, and that's it there.
What do you think that's for?
I'm not sure. I haven't been told. I'm told it will be revealed at some stage. like a lot of things, Tronson doesn't tell me everything.
It's a bit invasive, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Kanika's got one too. I'm pretty sure that she might be able to show you. Oh, she's got a long sleeve on, but
Yeah, no, I mean it's so weird because there's my camera. Sorry, I'm on my mobile. This was in April, like, and it was I thought it was like a clip. I keep on like fiddling with my clip, so I thought, oh, okay, another mark. April's gone, May's gone, June's gone. We're in July, and it's still not faded. And my colleague actually noticed. He's like, "It's been 2 months. Like, why don't you put some Soothe cream?" I'm like, what do you want me to do? I've done so much for it, and yet it's not gone. So yeah, it was very weird, and I didn't pay it much attention. But ever since, like, Peter also like noticed, I'm like, yeah, this thing's getting darker, and it's not going anywhere. Like, whatever I do, nothing. I've even tried laser, so like you can only imagine, like, it's not going anywhere.
I got the same, well, not the same, but on my shoulder, was, I think, last August or September. It was like a pimple, which like I've had before, but it wouldn't go away. And like it's not a scar, it's not a pimple, but it's this dot that just appeared. And like it doesn't bother me, but it's just out of the blue. So I'm thinking maybe that might be it as well. We'll see.
Interesting.
But one thing, Mark, I'd like to add was, I think ever since we got this, like for me, at least my healing abilities or whatever, like my telepathic abilities, I find that because that's how I backtracked and, did a reverse analysis, that things were really shifting. Like my own healer friends, like we sometimes just meet up and, try and experiment on each other. They're just like, you quantum jumped a lot. Like, what just happened? And I'm like, yeah, I have no idea. Like, tinglings and vibrations are just like so common for people now to receive from me because, and it's unbelievable for the head, but in my heart, I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is what you're. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know light language over here, but it's a gibberish kind of language which is channeled through. But my light language is just blown, and whenever it goes through, it just goes through. So a lot of things happen post this. So I don't know if it's the timeline, if it's this, it could be a combination of both, but things have really shifted for me.
Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of people. I'm shifting so quickly, it's nuts. But what? Sorry, did you finish the pictures, Peter?
Yeah. I just whipped through them.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So these activations are going on all over the world, and now you're being guided to go public because we need to do disclosure because we're just sort of softening people up to get ready for this kind of thing. I know you can't tell us anything about when, but it's not millions of years away, is it? Otherwise, you wouldn't be told to come out and do this.
Exactly. For us, it started. So essentially, it started. Our mission has really started. So essentially, we have to start disclosing to people in this month that things are happening, and there are going to be other crew waking up, and they need to not think they're crazy. That's the only reason we're here. We don't care whether people believe us or not. We really don't care.
Yeah,
it's more about saying, well, you have to go out there and tell people. Those that it resonates fine. Those that it doesn't, sorry, that's fine too. It doesn't phase us. We're on this mission, and we're going to be getting through it. So we're very confident of that. Our vibrations are never been anywhere near like this ever before. And they're only going to get better. And collectively, it just helps us rise and rise and rise. It's an amazing feeling. It really is when we've got a crew. Now, if you want to call it, even if you want to turn around and say that the ship's just a hoax, it's all nothing, it's all, nothing there at all. The fact that this crew and this vibration is running to a certain point, the manifestation of it all, there would be a ship, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
And this is the thing, because that's what our human body can do. So if people don't want to believe it, well, it'll probably happen anyway. We know we've been working on this since, like I said, February, March, and when obviously there's other people now start getting told to have to start revealing. We're getting told, and so we're doing that. Yeah, we put ourselves out in the line for criticism. I get that. The last thing I want to do is come forward. I did not want to do this, and if it wasn't for Kanika saying you have to go and do this, I wouldn't be here. And I think Angie would be the same. But she said, "Yeah, that's what Tronson's saying. You have to get out there and do it." And so here we are.
Well, I understand that very well because I literally was told to start a YouTube channel 2 years ago, and I didn't want to do it.
Mm.
I really didn't want to do it. And then I'll go online. I start talking about bloody demons.
Yeah,
I was like,
well,
oh,
exactly.
where did that come from?
Yeah. Look,
I fully understand.
Yeah, I've got all the gear. I was going to go and set up a YouTube channel, and I've been procrastinating for years and years, and I still probably won't do it.
Well, you're going to be too busy now.
Yeah, I am. I'm just too busy doing it, but I now know why.
Yeah.
So at least I'm happy. Yeah. And
no,
so
it is wonderful. And when you all joined the call, I got a very big buzz all the way top to bottom. So I picked up on your frequencies straight away.
awesome.
Yeah, it's very exciting times.
I think one thing to add to the audience and people waking up or preparing for missions. I think one thing, I don't know if Peter remembers this, one of the first things when we started really training together and connecting with each other, he said that something was coming through to him for us to be ready by the end of June. And we had no idea what that meant.
Yeah,
but
right.
that actually clicked because here we are at the end of June, or July now. But the one thing that kind of has been coming through to me is the whole preparation period. Like time is part of the whole matrix, like the concept of time, and us having to be ready for something big and having this kind of fear that, oh, maybe I'm not ready. I'm not quite at that level yet. I'm supposed to drive a ship, but I just woke up last week. What am I supposed to do? That's something that has been coming through to me, is that a lot of the downloads we've received are not being revealed to us. So we know we have them, but they come through, and this is what I've been preparing for in my life with the emergency situations where something in me comes out right exactly when it needs to be. So for anybody who's nervous about like preparing for something, like don't stress about it. Do what you need to do. Get yourself centered, get yourself grounded, connect with your guides and your higher self. But don't stress that, the moment may come or something will happen and you're not there. You're going to be exactly where you need to be at the right time. And that's really, I have to remind our team sometimes when we get too much and the downloads get too much. I have to remind myself of that sometime that, I am ready for this. Whatever time it comes, we'll do what we are called to do, what our contract had called us to do.
Yeah,
it's all divine timing.
It is.
Absolutely.
As long as you got a flask of tea and a sandwich, you'll be fine.
I don't even know if you need that. I mean, I've been losing weight, like literally. And I'm just like, I've been eating so much and losing weight. I'm like, what's happening? Okay.
And I have been too.
Turning crystalline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been told too. So we're working that direction. So we're all losing weight.
We're all getting shiny skin.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. My eyes are actually getting lighter. Actually, the pupils. Yeah.
Wrinkles are smoothing.
It's a wonderful process, and what's next in your mission? And you need to do this disclosure to sort of, because some people are getting the information but they're ignoring it, so they need to wake up. So if anybody's watching this who thinks they've been told that they're a pilot, you probably are. Yeah. And that's really the message, isn't it? Well,
yeah, you probably are, or you need some direction in where you are, and you need to ask your guides exactly. You might be pilot of a service vehicle that runs around the arc too. You're not necessarily going to be in an spacecraft. There's so much to be done. There's so many roles, and we've all been put in here in these meat suits, and we just got to drop out of these meat suits into the other ones. And then everything's there for us, but we have to do our personal growth or our personal development.
I don't want to lose this. I quite like this meat suit.
Well, you won't. You won't lose it. You,
Okay. You said drop out of it. I was like,
yeah, drop out, drop in. You know, it's just a meat suit.
I'm quite attached to mine though. Yeah, so that's like part of the mission. And then do you get a strong calling that you need to be communicating with others like Katie and
Yeah, because collectively we become high vibration, so we all jump up, and that's where we all need to be. And collectively, well, we've been talking about this for the last couple of years. We all need to raise our vibration.
Yep.
And so, you know, as crews, well, we can't fly unless our vibration. So I can't even connect with Tronson at the moment. Well, I could this afternoon, but for the last couple of days I've had a head cold and I've just been down, and Kanika's been on me to get myself back up. But yeah, that's what you have those other part of the crew for as well. Angie's the same. She's always on me, sort of saying, come on, captain, get up. And so, and that's what you need. You need someone to do that. You know, like my wife does it to a point, but you need a couple of other women to do it as well.
you just like being nagged?
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, to anyone. Sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead.
No, okay. No, to anyone who feels it, even. I mean, we're on the show. Connect with us. Connect with Mark. Connect with whoever. If you need support, I needed support. I joined the Ascension Telegram group purely to understand, because there was something in me that needed to understand. But post that, you've got such a support system. There are people who, the normal people would deem us crazy, but we're not, because we see reality now. But if you need that support, just join us. Just, be with us. It doesn't matter, because, we stand for co-elevation, like how Mark said, right? It's all about co-elevation, because together we could even grow stronger in terms of building a vortex of high frequency. That's why, like, I am literally like sweating in my meat body, as they say, because I've got so much energy going through that I might need to just integrate this by sleeping after this call. But it's times with these times when your mind's just like, I don't know what's happening. I just need support. I need some love. Okay, fine, no problem. At least you've got support systems. You're not alone. You're never alone. And even if you can't connect to your guides, you feel like you can't. You've got like meat bodies all around. Like, look at the disclosure that's happening. It's happening for you guys, because we know it and we've been there. We've been there and still doing the work. But you've got to take reins in your hands and really like embrace it. Love yourselves and start working on it. Start working on yourselves. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. How do people get hold of you guys if they feel the need?
So we've set up a group. It's the Space Arc Crew Lounge on Telegram. I've sent you through the link for that, and so they'll be able to connect on that. We'll just do a quick vetting, because we want to make sure that people are there for the right reason, and then bring them in and go from there. So it's a very basic scenario. We do need to be mindful of everyone's privacy, because we're all getting together on a pretty broad position. So essentially we've got people all around the world coming through. And I think that in time we'll be a little bit better organised, but that's just something we've thrown together now. We're not sort of looking to go and do YouTube channels and all the rest like that. It's just not sort of, we have our own 3D worlds, and we're just there to support in between.
Cool. Where did you send that link to, Peter?
I sent that through to your Telegram.
Yeah, I can't see it. I'll find it and I'll put it in the link in the description of the video.
Yeah, you let me know if you haven't got it. I'll send it again.
Okay, mate.
I might have been an email, actually. Just check your emails too.
Thank you. How did you? How you all going to get together then? Because you're all over the world. Yeah.
Yep.
So presumably, ship comes to you. You go in and then go and pick everybody up.
Well, I suppose it's something similar to that, but because we're teleporting, so essentially we're teleporting into that ship. So in a 5D, we're working on a 5D scenario at the moment. So essentially, our 5D connections are happening, and we actually meet in, because there's no time, so we can actually connect in sleep or in meditation, and so we're starting to get that going now, and so that's our big training this month to do that. I'm getting some extra training on my sensory perceptions and my holographic control mechanisms. So basically, I'll be able to understand more what is holographic and what is not. And more sensory, which is more increases my pineal gland a lot more. So yeah, there's different things I'm being given as we're going through. So it's all there. It's just about opening it up, and that's what we're doing. But in time, and I can't give the actual time, but in the actual time, then we will be physically teleporting our 3D bodies into those ships.
Yeah, that's what a great sentence. What a great sentence.
It is.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Exciting.
Yeah, written by Gene Roddenberry. That's the. But you know, he had all these experiences back in the 60s, which is how he came up with Star Trek. So,
you know, Mark, I've never watched an episode of Star Trek.
well, that was the beginning of disclosure. You know, it's been going on a long time.
Yeah. I just haven't been in that space.
I tell you what, I watched a film yesterday. I think you three will love. It's a short film that you can rent on Vimeo, and it's the film version of. Oh, it's not here. Stranger at the Pentagon.
Okay.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's the story of Valiant Thor, who's been.
Oh yes. Yep.
Who's been thrust into my consciousness in the last 2 weeks. And I spoke to the director of that film yesterday. But go and watch it. It's a 20-minute. It's just a 20-minute film version, short film, because they want to make a feature film. But it's got lots of this stuff in. The ship is sentient. The people turning into Merkabas, the dreams that he has with it's got lots of stuff in it. And it's not. It's a spiritual film, not a science fiction film, because of course the two are completely intertwined.
Absolutely, and that's what we've got to start thinking, that they are intertwined.
Yeah. That's the thing that always annoyed me about ufologists when I felt, because I've always been interested in them. 30 years ago, they were all very mechanically minded. And
yes,
this is not a mechanical thing. This is a spiritual thing.
Exactly. Unless your spiritual position is correct, forget about going on a ship.
Yeah, well, that's okay. They'll just go back to universe 368. We're going to 370. We're currently at 369, which is why Tesla said 369. 368, even lower density. That's where all of those, not all of those, but some of the ones that maybe did that, they'll be going back there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's just a great big sift.
It is. We're getting sifted all the time.
Getting sifted, harvested. That's what's going on.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is.
The best computer game ever. And we're in it, and we can quantum jump. We can go into the future versions of ourselves and pull down what we need. And
Bert Goldman. Oh my God, you know him?
Oh, I remember that. That was
quantum jumping.
Yeah, I did that about 10 years ago. Yeah, he was about 80. He was about 88, wasn't he, doing it? And he turned himself into an artist.
I mean, he started the piano at 80. Like literally, it took him two months to like literally show off an entire symphony, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I remember that really well. He was fascinating. I wonder if he's still around.
No, I think he passed away. Yeah, I think
he's probably on a ship.
Yeah, for sure. All of them. I mean, I just watched Doctor Strange and the Madness of the Multiverse, and I'm like,
hello.
Hello.
McFly. It's like, what's that? I was just, the other one that terrible TV series, but it was based upon Loki, the Disney Channel.
All right.
All about timelines and multiple dimensions. And the last Spider-Man film was all about multiple dimensions. It's right there.
It's right
Yep.
there.
I think one thing that will also resonate with people, because we're getting a lot of feedback from people feeling like they're living in two different worlds at the same time. Like, I can be working and focusing on something very 3D, like, but then all of a sudden I feel like part of my mind is somewhere else doing something completely different, and that's something that a lot of people have shared where they're not really in like formal meditation mode, but they kind of are in that there's like a sense of duality.
Yeah. Well, there's a great line in the Stranger at the Pentagon where Valiant Thor's wife says to him, I feel nauseous. I can't stand all this duality. It's horrible down here.
I can imagine.
Yeah, because I mean, we that's why they're so grateful to us for being here, because this is not an easy place to be.
It's not so dense. It's terrible.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. But I think that's why I dreamed. I dreamed of flying all the way since I arrived, because I was obviously missing that.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to fly too, but
I was like, "What the fuck am I doing
did in
here?"
the end.
Oh man, is there anything else you want to tell us before we wrap up?
Probably we're probably right at the moment, but yeah, we could be here all for the next hour or so. But in time, I'm sure we can catch up again.
Well, you're welcome anytime, and I do appreciate you. I feel like I was chosen for you to come out with this, so that's nice, and I appreciate that. And it's really lovely to meet all of you, especially you, Angie, whose face I can't see. I know what she looks
Just
like.
imagine my big smile.
I'm just imagining the drawing now. Yeah, it's wonderful to meet you all, and thank you for sharing all of this. And you guys watching, what was that Telegram? I'm going to put the link in the description, Peter, when you send it over again.
Yeah, Space Ark Crew Lounge.
Yeah.
Space Ark Crew Lounge Telegram. If you guys watching this are not in Telegram, it's mainly uncensored. I've got a Telegram group there. Go there, because I do a lot of stuff there that I can't do on YouTube and stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna meet Katie on Friday, and I'll show her this video, and I'll send her your Telegram details, and hopefully she'll be in touch.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. And there we're all playing our part. Okay, great. Well, have whatever time of day it is wherever you are. Have a great one, and I'm off to do dad stuff, so I'll hopefully see you again soon. If you've got any updates, just where I am.
Great.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot, guys.
Thank you for your time as well. Bye.